Good afternoon. Welcome. Pray be seated.
Mr. Speaker, Your Honour, the Lieutenant Governor is without. Monsieur le Président, son honneur, le lieutenant-gouverneur est en attente.
Admit, Her Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Veuillez vous asseoir. Please be seated.
Monsieur le Président, honorables parlementaires, invités et gens de Nouveau-Brunswick, bienvenue à l'ouverture de la 12e session de la 61e législature du Nouveau-Brunswick. Nous reconnaissons respectueusement que le territoire sur lequel nous sommes rassemblés fait partie de terres ancestrales des Wolastoqey, des Mi'kmaq et des Pescotawamkati. Nous déployons tous nos efforts pour établir des partenariats respectueux avec tous les peuples de la province, tout en nous engageant dans la voie d'une guérison collective et d'une véritable réconciliation et en honorant ensemble ces magnifiques terres. Mr. Speaker, this session begins at a time of renewal for our province as we emerge from the pandemic stronger and more confident in our ability to overcome challenges by working together. Despite immense upheaval and uncertainty in recent years, the people of this province have shown the resilience, conviction, and innovation to aim higher, reimagine old processes and practices, and seize new opportunities. Increasingly, on the national stage, we are becoming known as a place of growth and prosperity. The progress being made is a credit to every New Brunswickers whose creativity, inclusive spirit, and drive for excellence is making our province stronger over the long term. We begin, Mr. Speaker, with recognition of the many inspirational individuals whose positive impact is felt near and far. Au cours de la dernière année, un certain nombre de personnes du Nouveau-Brunswick se sont distinguées par leur réalisation et ont mérité de la reconnaissance. Nous félicitons le célèbre auteur et dramaturge acadien Antoine Maillet, qui a été élevé au rang de commandeur de la Légion d'honneur par le président de la République française Emmanuel Macron. Il s'agit de l'une des plus prestigieuses distinctions honorifiques qui peuvent être remises à une personne de l'extérieur de la France. 13 lawyers were appointed to the King's Council, including Fern Ashford of Fredericton, David Bartlett of St. Andrews, Nathan Gorham of St. John, Matthew Hayes of St. John, Lucy Leboissonnerie of Moncton, Joshua McKelman of St. John, Brenda McMullen Brown of Moncton, Joël Michaud of Fredericton, Carly Parrish of Hampton, Justin Robichaud of Moncton, Carole Sirois-Paquette of Caracat, Danielle Surette of Moncton, and Corey Toole of St. John. We extend congratulations to the New Brunswick athletes, coaches, and officials who represented Team Canada at the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, China, including Courtney Serrault from Moncton, Serge Leblanc from Saint-Marie-de-Kent, Ryan Hamilton from New Maryland, Betty Demare-Norris from Fredericton, Nicole Leblanc-Richard from Dieppe, and Cynthia Benson from St. John. As well, we would like to recognize Brendan Corey, who grew up in Fredericton and competed for Australia at the Games, and Stephen Goff, formerly of New Maryland, a coach with Team USA. Toutes nos félicitations aussi aux athlètes, aux entraîneurs et aux officiels du Nouveau-Brunswick qui en représentent l'équipe Canada aux Jeux paralympiques d'hiver de Pékin en Chine, Marc Fawcett de Saint-Jean et Mitchell Ferlot de Bathurst. 5% de Nouveau-Brunswick ont été reconnus dans le cadre du 12e prix annuel de la ministre pour l'excellence dans la promotion de l'égalité des gens vivants. Il s'agit de Vera Chin de New Maryland, jeune championne, de Lynn Chantal Boudreau de Moncton, championne au sein de la collectivité, de Kathy Simpson de Rossay, championne du milieu des affaires, de la révérende Elizabeth Stevenson de Kingston, championne au quotidien, et de Michelle Cronin de New Maryland, championne au gouvernement. We want to recognize Bob Stranick, the Council of Federation Literacy Award winner for New Brunswick for 2021. Congratulations to the winners of the 2022 Disability Awareness Week Awards, including Clarence Bastrash of Bathurst, winner of the Honorable Andy Scott Award, Dixie Leon Shediak, winner of the Employer Award, and Ability New Brunswick, winner of the Provincial Award. Donnell Joseph Savoie, PhD de Moncton, a été nommé compagnon de l'Ordre du Canada pour ses contributions majeures à l'avancement de l'administration des politiques publiques et des principes de gouvernance économique sur la scène nationale et internationale. 5 New Brunswickers were appointed as members of the Order of Canada. They are Louis-Philippe G. Léo Albert of Fredericton for his long-standing commitment to his community, notably through his advocacy of French language services and within the agriculture industry. Hereditary Chief Stephen Joseph Augustine for advancing Mi'kmaq studies and for sharing his scholarly expertise and traditional knowledge with private and public organizations across Canada. Euclide Patrice Chasson-Diap for his continued dedication to the cultural and educational development of the Acadian people and for his leadership in the cooperative sector. And Elder David Gerard Purley and Elder Imelda Mary Purley from Tobique First Nation for their work as renowned educators and knowledge keepers who have contributed to the academic and cultural landscapes of their province. Nous tenons également à souligner les 10 nouveaux récipiendaires de l'Ordre du Nouveau-Brunswick de 2022. Jean-Claude Basque de Moncton, Cécile Costista de Revenue, Randy Dickinson de Fredericton, Penny Erickson de Fredericton, Aurèle Ferlat à titre posthume de Dalhousie, Lucinda Flamer de St. Andrews, Sandra L. Irving de Saint-Jean, Larry Nelson de Moncton, Valois Robichaud de Baie de Petite-Porte-Mouche, et Robert Bobby Sillaboy de la Première Nationale d'Elsie-Buktuk. Ces personnes seront investies de l'Ordre du Nouveau-Brunswick le 2 novembre prochain. We congratulate the St. John Sea Dogs, who were crowned champions of the 2022 Memorial Cup, and the City of St. John for putting on a successful tournament. Your government is pleased for the cities of Moncton and Halifax to be hosting the World Junior Hockey Championships this coming December. We look forward to the arrival of Team Canada and believe the message of change and respect has been heard. We will stay firm, ensuring a culture of respect permeates all sports. We congratulate 346 athletes, 80 coaches, managers, and technical staff, and 20 mission team members who represented New Brunswick at the 2022 Canada Summer Games in Niagara, Ontario in August. Team New Brunswick returned home with 19 medals. Nous prenons aussi un moment pour honorer la mémoire des personnes qui sont décédées au cours de l'année. Le mois dernier, Sa Majesté la Reine Élisabeth II nous a quittés. C'est avec affection que nous nous souviendrons d'elle et de la relation étroite et durable qu'elle a entretenue avec notre pays et notre province. Il était un symbole de force et de détermination, un fer dans la période difficile. Elle incarnait la stabilité. Son décès est une perte pour sa famille et pour l'ensemble du Commonwealth et de sa population. We honor Noel Mullins of Celtic Transportation, known as much for his unfailing generosity and support of many charitable organizations and sports teams as he was for his entrepreneurial spirit. We remember Lynn Thornton, a true ambassador for New Brunswick. She spent 34 years working to promote King's Landing and then another 20 years working for the members of the Legislative Assembly. Former MLA and Senator Mabel DeWare will be remembered as a trailblazer in politics. She was elected to the Legislative Assembly for 2 consecutive terms in 1978 and 1982 and became the first female Minister of Labor in 1978. She was appointed to the Senate in 1990, and in 1999, she became the first woman to be appointed opposition whip. She remained in this position until her retirement in 2001. Nous honorons la mémoire de l'ancienne députée Claudette Bradshaw, infatigable défendresse des intérêts de notre province. Claudette a consacré sa vie à aider les autres, notamment comme députée fédérale de Moncton-Rivière-du-Diap de 1997 à 2016. Et par son travail dans sa communauté auprès des enfants et des jeunes à risque et une matière déterminante et de santé mentale. David Peterson, the clerk of the Legislative Assembly of New Brunswick from 1978 to 1993, will be remembered for his many professional and personal accomplishments. A dedicated family man and multi-sport athlete, he was passionate about learning and the law. He was a teacher before returning to school and becoming a lawyer. He served as Fredericton City Councillor from 1974 to 1980 and as a special prosecutor and a deputy judge. Multi-sport athlete and former firefighter Phil Doiron will be remembered for his dedication to his family and community, as well as his achievements in baseball, softball, and hockey. Nous honorons la mémoire d'Adair Lausier, joueur de baseball au sein des équipes intermédiaires et senior les Aigles de Tracadie, dont la détermination sans faille à faire de notre province un meilleur endroit restera gravé dans nos mémoires. Adair aimait sa famille et sa communauté, un amour qui se traduisait par sa grande générosité, notamment comme entraîneur et bénévole et dans son travail en politique et auprès des organismes à but non lucratif. In recognition of Brenda Robertson and her tremendous impact as the founder of the extramural program in this province, and with particular recognition of her accomplishments as the first elected woman to this legislature and the first woman appointed to serve as a minister of the Crown, your government will be formally recognizing her legacy in this legislative session. Monsieur le Président, la nouvelle session s'amorce à un moment historique pour notre province. Le Nouveau-Brunswick connaît des niveaux de croissance qu'il n'y a pas vu depuis son entrée dans la Confédération en 1867. Et ce rythme devrait se maintenir à mesure que nous accueillons de nouveaux arrivants de partout au Canada et dans le monde qui ont choisi notre province dans l'espoir et dans une vie meilleure. In addition to record population growth for the first time since 1961, New Brunswick has seen the median age decline by 6 months. This is a clear sign that people are bringing families to our province with the confidence they can put down roots, raise children, and enjoy rewarding careers. For the first time ever, net interprovincial migration exceeded 10,000. In the last year, 60% of those coming to New Brunswick from other provinces were between 20 to 54 years old with families, while those under 20 years old represented 20%. Mr. Speaker, these statistics bode well for the future sustainability of our province, with more employers and students to support our growing economy and the continued transformation of our social services like healthcare and education. Votre gouvernement reconnaît l'importance du Nouveau-Brunswick en tant que seule province officiellement bilingue du Canada. Au cours des derniers mois, il y a examiné les recommandations présentées par les deux commissaires concernant la loi sur les langues officielles. L'examen fut exhaustif et les recommandations ont une incidence sur le quotidien des gens de Nouveau-Brunswick, que ce soit au travail, à l'école ou dans la vie municipale. Votre gouvernement offrira une réponse durant la session. Mr. Speaker, New Brunswick is stronger for the rich diversity of our people and their generosity of spirit. Your government thanks the thousands of residents across the province who opened their hearts and homes earlier this year to refugees fleeing a brutal and unjust war in the Ukraine. We extend a warm welcome to our new Ukrainian neighbors and thank New Brunswickers everywhere whose generosity will never be forgotten. Nous avons aussi enregistré des niveaux records d'immigration internationale, 13 000 personnes de partout dans le monde ayant choisi de s'établir au Nouveau-Brunswick, d'y travailler ou d'y étudier. Alors que la session s'amorce, votre gouvernement s'y réjouit de l'ère nouvelle dans laquelle entre le Nouveau-Brunswick, une ère de croissance. Il y a des décennies que la province n'a pas eu à gérer la croissance, même s'il est clair qu'il s'agit de la voie du progrès et de la santé financière à long terme. pour le Nouveau-Brunswick. La croissance présente des défis à court terme en matière de logement, d'abordabilité et d'accès aux services publics. Votre gouvernement reste déterminé à poursuivre une gestion financière rigoureuse et prudente à mesure que nous surmontons ces défis en priorisant la santé à long terme de la province dans chacune de ses décisions. Une gestion responsable des finances publiques passe par des investissements judicieux, comme nous l'avons montré. Le dernier budget a augmenté le niveau de financement pour les soins de santé, les foyers de soins, les refuges pour femmes, le logement, la réduction de la criminalité et les stratégies de stimulation économique comme le tourisme. Thanks to the outstanding efforts of those who work across government and every New Brunswicker who stepped forward to lead in recent times, New Brunswick is now being recognized as one of the most stable jurisdictions to invest and has recently been named by the C.D. Howe Institute as one of the most fiscally transparent governments in the country. In August, Mr. Speaker, our strong fiscal management led Moody's Investor Service to upgrade New Brunswick's credit outlook from stable to positive and reaffirmed our credit rating at AA2. As well, in their latest reports, DBRS, Morningstar, and S&P Global Ratings reconfirmed their ratings at A, high, and A+, respectively, with stable outlooks. Mr. Speaker, the days of troubling predictions that the province is teetering on the cliff of bankruptcy are over. Monsieur le Président, la dette de la province ayant été réduite à 12,4 milliards de dollars, la part de nos revenus affectés à son amortissement est moindre et nous sommes donc en meilleure posture pour affronter la hausse des taux d'intérêt et ses pressions corrélatives. While managing debt levels responsibly, your government has also been focused on annual budgetary discipline. In doing so, the government of New Brunswick has delivered 5 consecutive surpluses, which provides flexibility to pursue additional tax reduction measures and help New Brunswickers with inflationary pressures. Tout cela témoigne, Monsieur le Président, de l'importance qu'attache votre gouvernement à assurer l'avenir financier de notre magnifique province et à se donner les moyens de fournir à la population les services de qualité auxquels elle a droit, en plus d'utiliser les deniers publics à bon escient. This philosophy extends to NB Power, which is burdened with high levels of debt and continues to be challenged with cost of service delivery, which is only being exacerbated this year by skyrocketing global energy costs. Mr. Speaker, over the last year, your government has continued to support NB Power and its Board of Directors and management team as it seeks to modernize its operations. Your government looks forward to the strategic review that is currently underway and applauds the organization's recent announcement of a $50 million cost-cutting initiative, particularly in the face of rate increases. Monsieur le Président, reconnaissant que les gens de Nouveau-Brunswick font face à des enjeux d'abordabilité, votre gouvernement, en partenariat avec Énergie NB, a récemment lancé un programme pour aider les personnes dans le besoin à gérer leur coût énergétique. Every New Brunswick household with under $70,000 in annual income relying on inefficient baseboard heating will qualify for a free energy assessment that may include free insulation, air sealing, and heat pump. This program is funded through a $30 million investment from your government and will not only help New Brunswickers manage their energy costs, but will modernize thousands of homes across our province with more efficient technology as we continue on our path toward being net zero by 2050. Afin d'offrir plus de stabilité à la population de Nouveau-Brunswick, le gouvernement proposera durant la session de modification à la loi sur la fixation des prix des produits pétroliers. Ces modifications visent à conférer à la Commission de l'énergie et des services publics le pouvoir discrétionnaire de veiller à ce que les prix maximums réglementés permettent de fixer les prix de manière stable et efficace dans un contexte d'instabilité, en plus d'assurer la cohérence dans la province maritime. Addressing our collective issues in meaningful and lasting ways requires reinvention and a constant challenging of the status quo. This is necessary, Mr. Speaker, to improve many of the ways government operates and to reestablish New Brunswick as a credible and confident province that is capable of attracting investment and talent. We have pressing issues, and traditional approaches will not solve them. Every day, your government stays focused on its strategic priorities and asks of itself and its residents, how will this project improve the life of New Brunswickers? Will this initiative get real results? Will this investment improve our province and the quality of life for our children in the decades to come? Votre gouvernement a mis le cap et garde le cap sur ses priorités clés. Il les concrétise en entendant un gouvernement abordable, prêt à agir en hautement performant, un secteur privé dynamisé, des communautés dynamiques et viables, des soins de santé publique fiables, une éducation de première classe, l'environnement. Monsieur le Président, la dynamisation du secteur privé se veut un objectif permanent de votre gouvernement. La stratégie de développement économique dévoilée en 2018, combler l'écart en une génération, chercher à combler l'écart de prospérité entre le Nouveau-Brunswick et le reste du Canada. Selon plusieurs indicateurs, la province est sur la bonne voie. Mr. Speaker, your government's pro-growth strategy is delivering. The province's economy has quickly surpassed pre-pandemic levels. More people are working than ever before in New Brunswick. In September, the province set a record with 373,100 people working. It is noticeable that this result beat the previous record set 5 months earlier. By comparison, Mr. Speaker, it took approximately a decade to recover the jobs lost during the financial crisis of 2008. Along with job and employment growth, wages are rising. New Brunswick is leading the country in the growth in average weekly wages with an increase of 5.8% so far this year, higher than the national growth rate of 3%. L'un des principaux leviers pour réduire l'écart de prospérité est la croissance démographique. Celle-ci est essentielle pour répondre aux besoins futurs d'effectifs et pour accueillir dans notre économie une main-d'œuvre qualifiée. Aujourd'hui, 802 000 personnes vivent au Nouveau-Brunswick, soit une augmentation de près de 10 000 entre avril et juillet, et la croissance se poursuit semaine après semaine. D'après le recensement de 2021, le taux de croissance de la population âgée de moins de 15 ans de Moncton et de Fredericton est plus élevé que celui de grands centres comme Calgary, Montreal, Vancouver et Toronto. In the last year, both goods and services producing industries registered increased economic activity, up by 6.6% and 4.8% respectively. En août, Monsieur le Président, 17 des 20 principaux secteurs ont signalé une hausse de leur activité économique en 2021, menée par l'agriculture, la foresterie, la pêche et la chasse, les administrations publiques, les services immobiliers et les services de location et de location à bail et la fabrication. Mr. Speaker, your government is ensuring it does its part to support New Brunswick businesses by overhauling the government procurement processes to give local enterprises more opportunity to be considered for government business. $90 million more was kept in New Brunswick over the last year. This is money that fueled employment and contributed to keeping local businesses healthy and strong. As we look ahead, New Brunswick's total public and private capital investment is anticipated to grow by 7.2% in 2022, and total investment is predicted to reach almost $4.2 billion. Non-residential capital construction is expected to increase by approximately $280 million, a gain of 12.2% from 2021, following a modest increase of 1.9% in 2021. Mr. Speaker, this is a true sign of renewed confidence in New Brunswick and that we are emerging from the pandemic stronger. Après avoir diminué l'année dernière, les investissements dans le secteur public devraient augmenter de 11,9% pour atteindre 1,7 milliard de dollars en 2022, l'augmentation la plus importante depuis 2017. Le secteur privé s'attend aussi à une hausse des investissements en 2022, soit de 4,1% pour un total de 2,4 milliards, ce qui représente 58,3% des investissements totaux. Monsieur le Président, la croissance des investissements dans le secteur privé témoigne de la capacité de notre province à combler l'écart avec le reste du Canada et confirme que nous ne dépendons plus de deniers publics pour stimuler notre économie. A good example is the Port of St. John, which is nearing completion of a $205 million expansion that will double its annual capacity. With the return of CP Rail, the port is poised to undertake an enhanced modernization worth $42 million, with 3 Class 1 rail lines, our highway system and airport. It has become the best gateway in North America. Monsieur le Président, nos provinces profitent aussi d'un investissement important du secteur privé dans le logement. La construction de logements collectifs a établi un record en 2020 qui remontait à 1962, puis l'a battu à nouveau cette année. Your government is also tackling productivity rates, a key indicator we lagged on with slow adoption of technology and automation compared to national averages. Labor productivity in New Brunswick is now 6% higher than it was in 2018. Mr. Speaker, in the last year, your government has helped over 55 companies adopt automation, and this year's budget provided $5 million to help New Brunswick businesses embrace technology for greater productivity and increased outputs. Digital literacy is also critical to our economic and social progress, which is why your government invested $10 million in the new McKenna Institute at the University of New Brunswick for micro-credentials to help residents boost their skills and find new work after the pandemic. The Institute will double the number of computer science grads and triple the number of graduate students, contributing essential talent to our province with the necessary skills to drive continued adoption of technology for productivity-enhancing processes. Il n'a jamais été aussi important d'être connecté. Votre gouvernement a lancé un programme de remise pour les services d'Internet par satellite destiné aux ménages et aux entreprises en régions éloignées. Cette connectivité à Internet augmentera la productivité de nombreuses personnes du Nouveau-Brunswick. New Brunswick exports are also doing well. The province saw the second largest increase in exports in the country in 2021, behind only Alberta. Mr. Speaker, the $14.7 billion in merchandise exports from New Brunswick in 2021 was the highest level of exports we have had in nearly a decade, and seafood exports reached an all-time high at $2.2 billion. Your government will continue to work on opening new markets for our world-leading seafood and agriculture sectors. Monsieur le Président, votre gouvernement reconnaît que l'agriculture, l'aquiculture et la pêche sont des leviers économiques majeurs dont les bons produits de qualité garantissent notables. D'ici à la fin mars, le ministère de l'Agriculture, de l'Aquaculture et des Pêches conclura les négociations fédérales, provinciales, territoriales de nouveaux partenariats canadiens pour une agriculture durable. Cette entente de 5 ans aiderait le Nouveau-Brunswick à devenir un chef de file en agriculture et en production agroalimentaire durable. Monsieur le Président, les gains historiques des indicateurs clés de notre rendement économique sont attribuables à une stratégie misant sur des facteurs de réussite précis. Given that your government has returned the province to strong financial health, in this session, legislative amendments will be brought forth to further reduce personal income tax and property taxes as you continue to advance a pro-growth agenda to attract more investors to New Brunswick and allow residents to keep more of their hard-earned dollars. Your government also plans to introduce incentives for builders to create additional housing as we manage the challenges that come with population growth. En août, Monsieur le Président, des modifications seront présentées au cours de la session pour offrir une plus grande protection aux consommateurs et aux fournisseurs, pour réduire le fardeau réglementaire des entreprises et pour accroître l'efficacité. Elles comprendront des dispositions législatives sur le paiement sans délai et des changements à la loi sur la coopération commerciale, à la loi sur les travaux publics, à la loi sur l'impôt foncier, ainsi qu'un projet de loi sur la protection des titres visant à instaurer un système et une structure tarifaire régissant les qualifications minimales des conseillers et planificateurs financiers. Mr. Speaker, your government has been disciplined in supporting emerging sectors where New Brunswick can show leadership in the decades to come. While forestry, agriculture, and aquaculture will always be backbones of our economy, your government is embracing energy innovation as an emerging opportunity, particularly in the face of climate change imperatives. Grâce à l'abondance de nos ressources naturelles, à nos atouts uniques et à notre position stratégique sur les côtes, votre gouvernement développe une grappe énergétique qui fera de la province un fournisseur d'énergie intégrée pouvant aider à contre la crise climatique à l'échelle nationale et internationale. Parallèlement, le Nouveau-Brunswick sera chef de file mondial en matière de réduction des émissions. Pour ce faire, votre gouvernement mettra sur pied un secrétariat de l'énergie qui coordonnerait les parties prenantes et les initiatives et fera la promotion des études de Nouveau-Brunswick sur les scènes nationales et internationales. Le port de Belle-Dune, dans le nord de la province, a récemment annoncé avoir conclu une entente de principe avec Cross River Infrastructure Partners visant la construction d'une installation d'exploitation de l'hydrogène vert. Mr. Speaker, in addition to emerging technologies, New Brunswick is home to Canada's only operational LNG terminal. As our world transitions to alternative sources of energy like hydrogen, there is a requirement during the transition period for products like LNG globally, and that's where New Brunswick's LNG terminal offers clear advantages. Given the energy crisis that is underway in Europe, our province is ideally positioned to help. New Brunswick is better suited than any jurisdiction to export liquefied natural gas to Europe. New Brunswick has vast and untapped shale gas resources in the province that, if responsibly developed, could provide a made-in-New Brunswick supply of natural gas for use in the proposed LNG export facility or to replace coal used in power generation in Atlantic Canada. Replacing coal with natural gas has been shown to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 50% or more. Par ailleurs, Monsieur le Président, les gisements de gaz naturel du Nouveau-Brunswick sont uniques. Ils sont plus propres que ceux d'ailleurs en Amérique du Nord parce qu'ils ne contiennent pas de dioxyde de carbone ou de sulfure d'hydrogène. Alors que les gouvernements cherchent à abandonner le charbon, notre gaz naturel pourrait être une excellente solution de rechange propre et fiable. Votre gouvernement est impatient de travailler avec les Autochtones et les autres parties prenantes pour passer à l'action. Mr. Speaker, New Brunswick has also been leading the national conversation on advanced small modular reactors, or SMRs. New Brunswick has been a leader in nuclear energy in Canada for the past 40 years, one of only 2 provinces in Canada with nuclear operations and expertise. And now, as part of the Pan-Canadian SMR plan, New Brunswick is leading the development and deployment of the Generation 4 SMRs. Inherently safe and scalable, this technology provides clean and base load energy that interacts well with intermittent sources like wind and solar. And since they are modular, they can be designed and built right here in New Brunswick, and by taking advantage of our world-class logistic assets like the Port of St. John, shipped to customers all around the world. 2 constructeurs de PRM ont établi leur siège social canadien dans notre province, soit Arc Clean Technology et Moltex. Les 2 entreprises ont reçu un soutien de votre gouvernement. Mr. Speaker, the interest level is high and the opportunity is significant. Between 2020 and 2035, SMRs are expected to bring an average of 1,458 direct and indirect jobs per year, $2.15 billion in positive impacts on our GDP, and an increase of $198 million in government revenue. Il ne fait aucun doute que nous sommes en train de transformer notre économie et nous sommes ravis de jouer un rôle de premier plan dans l'innovation énergétique. Monsieur le Président, votre gouvernement s'était engagé à travailler avec les collectivités et les parties prenantes de la province pour orienter la gouvernance locale au Nouveau-Brunswick. En fait, il a réalisé son objectif car le 1er janvier 2023, la province passera de 340 entités locales à 89, soit 77 gouvernements locaux et 2 districts ruraux. More than 95% of the population will be in a local government, while those in rural districts will also have democratic representation. To that end, special municipal elections are occurring on November 28th in many areas of the province. The regional service commissions will be playing an expanded and important role in the areas of regional economic development, tourism protection, community development, regional transportation, and infrastructure cost sharing. This is an important step in ensuring a regional approach that will reduce duplication and help focus decision-making. Votre gouvernement a mis en œuvre les mesures nécessaires en proposant un certain nombre de modifications législatives au cours de la dernière année. En fait, plus tôt ce mois-ci, la loi de 2022 concernant la réforme de la gouvernance locale et la loi concernant le financement communautaire ont reçu la sanction royale de l'Assemblée législative. Au cours de la session, d'autres modifications seront proposées à la loi sur la prestation de services régionaux et la loi sur l'urbanisme. Mr. Speaker, the growth in New Brunswick's population is a testament to the fact that people are coming to the province and they are staying, which presents challenges in terms of ensuring sufficient housing options. Your government is applying holistic perspective in assessing the housing needs of New Brunswickers, with the Minister of Service New Brunswick providing oversight across the entire spectrum. Rental supply is on the rise in New Brunswick. Since January 2021, there have been more than 2,000 new rental units completed in the province. As of August 2022, there were 3,557 rental units under construction in the province's three largest centres, which is the highest level recorded since 1990. Les permis de construction résidentielle, qui sont un bon indicateur précoce des projets de construction, ont augmenté de 23% depuis le début de l'année par rapport à 2021. Ce taux est supérieur à celui observé en 2017, 2018 et 2019 pour l'année entière. Il est clair, Monsieur le Président, que les constructeurs ont confiance et par conséquent investissent dans les villes et les collectivités du Nouveau-Brunswick. Your government recognizes that affordable housing is an issue for many communities as well. Thanks to multiple efforts over the years, your government has been able to help over 800 at-risk New Brunswickers experiencing homelessness find affordable and stable housing. Already, the objectives under the 2019-2028 Canada-New Brunswick bilateral agreement for the first 3 years have been exceeded. Originally, this initiative targeted the construction of 151 new affordable housing units in the province from 2019 to 2022. Instead, 177 new units were created. The second phase of this agreement calls for the creation of an additional 405 units on the market within the next 3 years. These affordable housing units include the addition of new rent supplements requiring tenants to allocate 30% of their gross income toward rent, with your government covering the remainder. De plus, Monsieur le Président, pour aider à éteindre la pénurie de logements abordables, votre gouvernement vient d'annoncer un investissement de 2,2 millions de dollars pour construire 380 nouveaux logements publics au cours de 4 prochaines années et rénover immédiatement 110 logements vacants. Il s'agit d'une importante initiative qui se traduira par la construction des premiers logements appartenant au gouvernement provincial en 38 ans. Le partenariat en 38 ans. Le partenariat se poursuivra avec des propriétaires de logements locatifs des secteurs privés et sans but lucratif afin de multiplier les options de logement abordables pour les personnes dans le besoin. En septembre, le gouvernement provincial et la Première Nation d'Elsibogtok ont annoncé un partenariat pour aider la communauté à atteindre son objectif de créer jusqu'à 25 nouveaux logements au cours des 5 prochaines années. Monsieur le Président, un logement n'est pas suffisant pour créer un chez-soi. Les gens doivent aussi se sentir en sécurité. Dans son dernier budget, votre gouvernement a investi 3,3 millions de dollars pour réduire la criminalité. From April 1st to October 7th of this year alone, law enforcement across the province made 130 drug seizures, seized $732 in cash, and removed 251 weapons from our streets. Warrants and arrests totaled 338 and show the impacts of these efforts to make our communities safer places to live. Alors que votre gouvernement continue à soutenir les organismes d'application de la loi dans la lutte contre les trafiquants de drogue qui s'en prennent aux plus vulnérables, nous devons également les aider à combattre la criminalité liée à la drogue. Les infractions contre les biens sont à la hausse alors que les manufacturiers volent leurs voisins pour se procurer de la drogue. Nous devons faire en sorte qu'il soit plus difficile pour eux de vendre des biens volés, notamment les fils de cuivre et les convertisseurs catalytiques. Au cours de la session, des modifications seront apportées à la loi sur la licence de brocanteur pour mettre en œuvre les pratiques exemplaires de loi de l'ensemble du Canada. Mr. Speaker, your government is also focused on the safety and rights of our seniors, as well as protecting people when online. During this session, legislation, your government will bring forward amendments to the Enduring Powers of Attorney Act and the Wills Act. Your government will also bring forth a new act to replace the Infirm Persons Act to support better decision-making and representation for laws relating to guardianship. Further, a new act entitled Access to Digital Assets by Fiduciaries Act will be introduced to clarify the role of fiduciaries and the duty of custodians. Mr. Speaker, the final report of the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls recommended that all provincial and territorial governments enact missing persons legislation. Indigenous women represent 10% of the total population of women in Canada missing for at least 30 years. Enacting the new Missing Persons Act will ensure police officers have the necessary tools to continue their search efforts and ultimately increase effectiveness. Afin de protéger davantage les femmes contre la violence de la part d'un partenariat intime, votre gouvernement présentera au cours de la session la loi sur la communication de renseignements pour la protection contre la violence entre partenaires intimes, loi déclare. Monsieur le Président, votre gouvernement appuie les collectivités inclusives et s'efforce d'apporter des améliorations dans nos milieux de travail. Durant la session, nous recevrons le rapport final de la commissaire sur le racisme systémique. On September 30th, your government recognized the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. All New Brunswickers have an obligation to advance reconciliation and foster a better, more inclusive province, not just on September 30th, but every single day. Mr. Speaker, your government has created a website to support the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action, and we encourage all residents to visit www.gmb.ca/trc and learn about ways they can support progress. Les séquelles des pensionnats et des externats ont été profondément traumatisantes pour les survivants, les familles et les communautés concernées par cette période tragique de l'histoire canadienne. Nous ne devons jamais l'oublier. Nous partageons tous les responsabilités d'écouter, d'apprendre, de nous souvenir et surtout d'agir. Work is underway or complete for 27 of the 31 calls to action under provincial jurisdiction, including waiving fees to make it easier for survivors of residential schools and their family members to reclaim traditional names, curriculum development on the history of residential schools, cultural awareness training for all public servants, and smudging ceremonies being available across the Horizon Health Network. Monsieur le Président, les artistes et les artisans jouent un rôle important dans le renforcement des collectivités et de l'économie de Nouveau-Brunswick. L'année dernière, votre gouvernement a publié son rapport du groupe de travail du Premier ministre sur le statut de l'artiste qui comptait plusieurs recommandations pour améliorer la situation socio-économique des artistes professionnels. With the last budget, your government doubled its support for the film sector, recognizing the strong potential for film productions to attract investment in the province. Recently, your government signed an agreement with Louisiana to strengthen cultural relations and create opportunities to showcase our rich cultural product. Your government will continue to identify ways to support arts and culture and create linkages to our thriving tourism sector as identified in our new tourism strategy, The Invitation. Monsieur le Président, non seulement votre gouvernement fait croître l'économie et réduit le fardeau fiscal des gens de Nouveau-Brunswick, mais il investit également afin de hausser le niveau de vie des plus vulnérables d'entre nous. Une nouvelle loi sur le bien-être des enfants et des jeunes a été présentée afin de mieux protéger les enfants à risque. L'aide sociale a été indexée et votre gouvernement a augmenté les taux de prestations tout en réduisant les prélèvements aux effets nuisibles. Les taux de remboursement pour le kilométrage ont également fait l'objet d'une augmentation pour les partenaires et les clients de développement social. To help more New Brunswickers make ends meet, your government made a one-time correction and increased minimum wage by $2 per hour in 2022, representing a 17% increase and the most significant jump in the rate since 1980. This change positively impacted thousands of residents and moved the province from last in Canada to among the highest in the region. In 2023, the minimum wage will resume being tied to the Consumer Price Index, a change made by your government in 2019. And based on current trends, the increase is anticipated to exceed 7% next year, which is a significant boost for New Brunswickers, particularly during these times when so many are challenged with rising costs. Le gouvernement a également augmenté le salaire horaire des travailleurs de service à la personne dans les milieux communautaires et des personnes éducatives de la petite enfance. Les personnes d'appui à l'inclusion dans les garderies éducatives recevra une augmentation de salaire horaire comparable à celle du personnel éducatif de la petite enfance. Cette mesure a pour but de reconnaître les pratiques d'apprentissage inclusives et de favoriser l'égalité des chances pour chaque enfant. To further promote equity and human rights, your government has provided more than $150,000 to school districts to provide free menstrual hygiene products to students throughout the school year. This program can help reduce the impact on academics and help reduce stigma and social or emotional challenges. Monsieur le Président, au cours de la session, des modifications seront apportées à la loi sur les normes d'emploi dans le but de soutenir les personnes handicapées, de veiller à leur pleine intégration professionnelle et de leur garantir une rémunération équitable. Les employeurs ne seront plus en mesure d'agir de façon discrétionnaire et d'accorder des allocations inférieures au salaire minimum lorsque emploie une personne handicapée. Monsieur le Président, un élément clé de la création de communautés dynamiques et viables consiste à disposer d'un système de soins de santé qui répond aux besoins des gens du Nouveau-Brunswick. The system we have is not working, and your government has launched a strong plan built in partnership with healthcare professionals across New Brunswick, stabilizing healthcare and urgent call to action. The plan identifies clear actions and ambitious timelines to evolve our system and deliver improvements that New Brunswickers deserve. Historic levels of funding have been invested to support this plan, but Mr. Speaker, money alone will not fix this challenge. Every New Brunswicker must be willing to think and behave differently as you continue to expand the variety of providers who can help New Brunswickers with various healthcare needs, adopt technology more rapidly, and evolve how we access services across the health system. This will improve access for New Brunswickers and make the system more attractive to the next generation of professionals. L'une des grandes priorités du plan de santé est de doter la population du Nouveau-Brunswick d'un meilleur accès aux soins de santé primaires. Notre nouvelle génération de médecins et de personnel infirmiers n'exercera pas dans des cabinets uniques et isolés. Elle n'assumera pas le fardeau du milieu de dossiers des patients. Cette génération veut faire partie d'une équipe, travailler en collaboration dans une clinique interdisciplinaire où sont offerts une variété de services. Mr. Speaker, you recognize that as you evolve the model to more community team-based clinics, you must also empower professionals to work at a broader scope and connect them across the system with new ways to deliver service faster to New Brunswick. Votre gouvernement a accompli plusieurs avancées pour appuyer cet objectif. 4 collectivités ont été choisies pour les soins de santé communautaires intégrés, soit Dalhousie, Sussex, Fredericton et le comte de Charlotte. On procède actuellement au recrutement de promoteurs communautaires et des personnels infirmiers praticiens dans ces collectivités et la mise sur pied des comités consultatifs. Virtual care through eVisit NB is now available at no charge for people with a Medicare card. Consultations can be booked with a doctor or nurse practitioner either in person or over the phone. Pharmacists can now renew many prescriptions and can prescribe for uncomplicated urinary tract infections, shingles, and birth control. Les travailleurs paramédicaux peuvent utiliser le jugement clinique quand ils répondent à un appel au 911 et aideront les patients à trouver une option de soins communautaires les cas échéants. Monsieur le Président, en mettant en œuvre notre stratégie en matière de santé visant à retirer les patients de la liste d'accès patients NB et à fournir des soins primaires à tous les gens de Nouveau-Brunswick, votre gouvernement a découvert que dans une région environ la tirée des personnes sur la liste d'attente avaient déjà accès à un médecin ou à un membre du personnel infirmier praticien. Par le passé, les patients orphelins avaient pour seul accès les cliniques sans rendez-vous ou les services d'urgence. L'état de santé de ces personnes pouvait parfois le détériorer dans l'attente de l'obtention d'un fournisseur de soins de santé primaire permanent. Going forward, unattached patients who do not have a primary care provider across the province will be offered the opportunity to join NB HealthLink. NB HealthLink is a new provincial program that will provide a temporary home and improved access to care for those patients while they wait to find a permanent primary care provider. Patients registered with New Brunswick HealthLink will be provided with regular and consistent access to primary care services through a combination of telephone, virtual, or in-person visits with primary care providers associated with the program. In addition, New Brunswick HealthLink will leverage an electronic health record system to ensure that patients are provided with a high degree of continuity of care while they are in the program, vastly improving on the episodic care that is currently provided through walk-in clinics or ER visits. Mr. Speaker, New Brunswick is witnessing population growth not seen in many generations, resulting in a significant increase in newcomers registering for Medicare coverage. Your government is taking active steps to eliminate the backlog of requests, better communicate with community partners, and manage the increased demand moving forward. Your government has undertaken to simplify the application form, streamline the application process to reduce cycle times, and increase staff dedicated to processing new requests by 80% in order to ensure our newcomers are provided with timely access to their Medicare cards. The implementation of these improvement measures will allow for the issuance of Medicare cards within 60 days of receipt of required forms. Your government is targeting to address the current backlog and achieve this timeline by February 2023. Monsieur le Président, votre gouvernement s'efforce également d'accroître l'accès aux chirurgies. Les médecins de famille et les chirurgiens de région de Fredericton et de Bathurst reçoivent actuellement une formation sur l'utilisation du nouveau programme d'orientation électronique qui agira les patients vers le premier chirurgien disponible, à moins que le patient ne choisisse d'attendre un chirurgien en particulier. The Enhanced Recovery After Surgery program has been launched for colorectal surgery patients at the Dr. Georges L. Dumont Université Hospital Center, and preparations are underway to launch the program for colorectal surgery patients at the Moncton Hospital and for hip and knee replacement surgery patients at the St. John Regional Hospital. De plus tôt cet automne, votre gouvernement a lancé un nouveau programme pilote à Bathurst visant à accélérer les chirurgies de la cataracte financées par les fonds publics dans les cliniques privées. Monsieur le Président, votre gouvernement améliore également l'accès aux services de traitement des dépendances et de santé mentale. La thérapie à séance unique est désormais disponible dans 14 centres communautaires de traitement des dépendances et de santé mentale de la province. Cette solution a permis de réduire de 62% la liste d'adultes en attente de services de santé mentale communautaire. Supporting seniors as they age is a key pillar of the health plan. New Brunswickers want to remain living in their homes as long as possible, but many are unable to do so due to a lack of access to services and opportunities for healthy aging. Your government is expanding the nursing home without walls model to 16 more locations by October 2023 by investing in additional resources for community supports and extending their expertise to help older people in their local communities. Mr. Speaker, for our healthcare system to work better, it must be better connected. Today, silos exist. Professionals are fragmented in the ways they deliver care, and residents don't have the information they need to take preventative and corrective steps to proactively manage their health outside of a hospital setting. À cette fin, Monsieur le Président, votre gouvernement a créé 415 197 comptes Ma Santé MB, tirant parti de la technologie pour mettre les dossiers médicaux à portée de main de la population. Ces personnes seront aux premières loges pour consulter leurs résultats d'analyse et des tests diagnostiques ainsi que leur dossier d'immunisation, une fois le service élargi dans les mois à venir. Le plus important dans tout cela, Monsieur le Président, reste les travailleurs dont nous avons besoin. En matière de travailleurs de la santé, le Nouveau-Brunswick est une concurrence avec chaque autre province et territoire aux prises avec une pénurie de main-d'œuvre. An incentive program was launched earlier this year to attract newly registered nurses for jobs that are hard to fill. More than 266 nurses have been hired within the regional health authorities and extramural ambulance New Brunswick under this program. Your government signed 10-year performance-based agreements with l'Université de Moncton and the University of New Brunswick to grow the number of nursing students by 85 per year. In addition, the Master of Nursing Nurse Practitioner program at the University of New Brunswick will expand from 10 to 20 seats in September 2023. And Mr. Speaker, starting in September 2022, up to 21 UNB nursing students per year will specialize in mental health each year, better preparing them to respond to mental health issues. In addition, your government is bringing 10 medical seats home to New Brunswick from Memorial University in Newfoundland and relocating them at Dalhousie Medical School at the St. John UNB campus. Your government has also added 4 seats in Moncton in partnership with the Centre de Formation Médicale du Nouveau-Brunswick at l'Université de Moncton. In addition, you have recently established a letter of intent with Beale University in Bangor, Maine, to advise New Brunswickers who wish to study in the Bachelor of Nursing program that they have the capacity to enroll at least 100 eligible students for 2023 and will enter into a return to service agreement with those students directly so that they return to New Brunswick and work as a registered nurse for a minimum of 1 year. Votre gouvernement élimine aussi les obstacles auxquels sont confrontés les professionnels de la santé. Les étudiants peuvent désormais passer l'examen de séance infirmière au Québec. Votre gouvernement a conclu un nouvel accord avec la France visant à reconnaître les titres de compétences étrangers pour le personnel infirmier. Récemment, il a lancé un nouveau programme d'orientation pour aider les médecins étrangers à faire reconnaître le titre de compétences. Durant la session de l'Assemblée législative, votre gouvernement fera progresser certaines modification à la loi sur le régime régional de la santé afin d'élargir la prestation de services des hôpitaux aux cliniques communautaires, ce qui faciliterait l'accès à des services tels que le prélèvement des échantillons des sangs et les surgeries de la cataracte. Your government believes in making decisions based on evidence and relevant data with the goal of increasing the use of data to guide investment decisions and to inform system design decisions. With this goal in mind, your government will be bringing forward amendments to the New Brunswick Health Council Act to expand the role of the New Brunswick Health Council in data analysis and reporting to the Ministers of Health and Social Development. The legislative changes will also see an increase in public reporting of data about service levels and outcomes. Monsieur le Président, votre gouvernement n'est pas seul dans cette entreprise. Des changements positifs se produisent parce que tout le monde tient à travailler ensemble pour améliorer le système et trouver des façons de mettre en place les services de soins de santé fiables dont les gens de Nouveau-Brunswick ont besoin et qu'ils méritent. Mr. Speaker, your government is advancing the 10-year education plan, Succeeding at Home, a green paper on education in New Brunswick, and 3 government priorities: energizing the private sector by improving workforce participation, creating vibrant and sustainable communities by breaking the cycle of poverty, and establishing a world-class education system by ensuring every child succeeds. La viabilité de notre province passe par des finissants qui obtiennent leur diplôme en étant prêts à intégrer le marché du travail. Les élèves du secondaire qui s'intéressent aux métiers spécialisés au Nouveau-Brunswick peuvent désormais profiter des programmes de pré-apprentissage utiles mis en place par votre gouvernement. Ces programmes offrent des stages de travail et sont l'occasion pour les élèves de tisser des liens avec des employeurs de la collectivité. Government is also creating hands-on experiential work opportunities for students who are interested in learning about key sectors. New centers of excellence were launched in entrepreneurship, healthcare, and social work. These add to the first Center of Excellence in Energy that was launched last year. Students can interact with and learn from experts in their fields, regardless of location in the province, with a combination of panel discussions, site visits, webinar, speaker series, mentorship, coaching, career fairs, industry training, and co-op placements, both virtual and in person. Your government is focused on ensuring there is a program that will see all of our students learn and graduate with a conversational level of French. You will work to create system-wide changes which allow for a learning environment where teachers can teach and students can learn with minimal disruptions, where streaming is eliminated, and where parents are clear on the programs that exist. Our children are the drivers of our future, and they deserve to have all the tools necessary to thrive and contribute to our province. Mr. Speaker, consistency in our education system is important, and your government will be working to establish programs that can be delivered in the same way everywhere in our province. Monsieur le Président, le secret d'une province forte et une santé est d'avoir des enfants forts et en santé. Votre gouvernement s'emploie à venir en aide aux élèves de la province dans le besoin. Earlier this year, the government announced up to $550,000 for Food Depot Alimentaire to expand its existing free breakfast program from 50 schools to 110 schools. The funding will go toward providing food such as milk and other dairy products, eggs, fruits and vegetables, cereals and grains, supporting the government's local food and beverages strategy, and encouraging people to grow NB, buy NB, and feed NB. Le gouvernement a investi $3 millions durant les 2 dernières années pour assurer la poursuite d'une initiative de Saint-Jean qui vise la réussite scolaire des enfants les plus vulnérables. Le projet When Children Succeed aide les élèves de la maternelle à la 12e année à surmonter les obstacles à l'apprentissage en leur offrant un soutien intensif en classe pour que les cas de réussite soient comblés à la fin de leur troisième année, aspect qui permettent d'accroître considérablement les taux de diplomation comme le démontrent les recherches. Giving children a strong early start is critical for their future success, and your government is proud that the Early Childhood Agreement has reduced out-of-pocket fees for families by an average of 50% for preschool-age children at designated learning centers and homes throughout the province, meaning more children can benefit from these programs and more parents can return to the workforce earlier. Mr. Speaker, your government is equally proud that it took the necessary time to create a solution that not only built on our existing and very successful early child care model, it also protected private business owners, the large majority of which are female entrepreneurs. Continuity of learning is key for students. This session's amendments will be brought forward to the Public Service Labor Relations Act to clarify language around strike votes, strikes, lockouts, and designated workers to ensure sufficient notice periods and continuity of critical services. This balance is required for families and New Brunswickers who rely on schools, education, and other services. Monsieur le Président, le livre a fait ressortir l'importance de compter sur une fonction centrale de surveillance et de responsabilisation pour assurer une application efficace et juste de loi, des politiques et des normes provinciales. Durant la session, des modifications à la loi sur l'éducation pour moderniser la gouvernance du secteur anglophone seront également présentées. Au cours de l'année qui vient, votre gouvernement se penchera sur les changements à apporter éventuellement au sein du secteur francophone. Mr. Speaker, protecting New Brunswick's vast natural spaces for future generations remains a key priority. Your government released a renewed climate change action plan, our pathway towards decarbonization and resilience that will help the province adapt to climate change while steering New Brunswickers towards a low-carbon future. While progress has been made, as witnessed with Hurricane Fiona, the province is already experiencing the effects of climate change, and there is more work to do. Your government has been working diligently to help residents in the eastern part of the province recover and clean up from the hurricane, and going forward, careful consideration must be given to how to rebuild those areas, always placing a priority on the safety of residents. With that in mind, your government has committed to undertaking several changes to improve land use planning and to promote more responsible and managed development of land. As a first step, government will introduce statements of public interest that will focus on climate change, flood hazard areas, settlement patterns, agriculture, and natural resources. This will be done with full alignment to the renewed Climate Change Action Plan. Ces nouveaux plans d'action qui proposent 30 mesures assorties de résultats clairs représentent notre engagement à maintenir notre appui aux communautés dans l'élaboration de leur plan d'adaptation en préparation aux effets du changement climatique. Notre objectif est que toutes les communautés se soient dotées d'un tel plan d'ici 2030 et 50% d'entre elles, notamment toutes les villes et les municipalités à risque élevé situées dans les régions côtières et 8 municipalités le long de la plaine inondable du cours inférieur de la rivière Saint-Jean l'ont déjà fait. More than $47 million is allocated in the 2022-2023 budget to support 83 climate change-related projects. The investment, which comes from the carbon tax, is directed towards initiatives that will help reduce greenhouse gas emissions, foster educational opportunities, and build resiliency to achieve our greenhouse gas reduction target for 2030 and put New Brunswick on the path to being net zero by 2050. Monsieur le Président, le Nouveau-Brunswick a proposé un système de tarification du carbone provincial qui tient compte de la réalité économique et de l'incertitude liée à la compétitivité de la province. Il est essentiel de maintenir un contrôle provincial de la tarification du carbone pour garantir que les revenus obtenus puissent générer des résultats optimaux pour la population. Mr. Speaker, as part of overall climate change goals, your government's vision is to reduce the amount of solid waste being disposed of in New Brunswick and to create opportunities to transform it into materials for tomorrow. You will continue to modernize, expand, and establish new waste diversion programs using an extended producer responsibility approach, an example of which was approved by your government for packaging and printed paper, and which positions New Brunswick as a leader in Atlantic Canada. 2 pilot programs have resulted in a total of 101 tons of glass containers diverted from landfills in 2021-22, and in the coming months, government is proposing to modernize the 30-year beverage container program. Diverting waste is critical to keep our natural spaces clean, healthy, and thriving with biodiversity. Your government is well on its way to more than double the amount of conserved and protected areas in New Brunswick from 4.6% to 10%, which represents the most significant conservation gain in the history of our province. Forêts saines et productives ont toujours rimé avec le nom de notre magnifique province. Durant la session, une nouvelle loi sera présentée pour créer un fonds au profit de la durabilité des terrains boisés privés et spécialement conçu pour aider les propriétaires de terrains boisés privés à instaurer une gestion, une sylviculture et une protection des forêts plus efficace à long terme. Cette nouvelle loi redonnera une seconde souffle aux propriétaires de terrains boisés privés et marquera le début d'une nouvelle ère au chapitre de la gestion durable de ces petits terrains. You will also be making great gains in transparency and oversight of Crown lands and forest management by establishing the Crown Lands and Forest Advisory Board. You will soon be advertising for positions on this advisory board and look forward to start working with them to ensure diverse management of one of our greatest assets and to further solidify the commitment that our forests are for everyone. Monsieur le Président, votre gouvernement a permis au Nouveau-Brunswick d'emprunter une nouvelle avenue de prospérité et de viabilité à long terme. La croissance de la province qui atteint de son inégalité est le résultat d'une planification soignée de consultations régulières et des mesures réfléchies. Your government will continue to encourage New Brunswickers everywhere to challenge old thinking that is no longer serving our province or its people. In doing so, we have several examples of how New Brunswick has been reinvented both economically and socially. Progress is happening, and it's tangible progress people can see and feel as they go about their daily lives. Monsieur le Président, il nous reste beaucoup à faire. En effet, les objectifs de votre gouvernement sont encore très nombreux, particulièrement dans le domaine des soins de santé et de l'éducation, et pour créer des communautés viables, dynamiques et totalement inclusives pour tous les gens du Nouveau-Brunswick et les aider à atteindre leur plein potentiel. Ensemble, nous devons saisir les possibilités et continuer à favoriser la croissance de la province tout en veillant à assurer la prospérité pour tous les gens du Nouveau-Brunswick. Nous sommes sur la bonne voie et plus forts que jamais.
Please remain standing. Veuillez demeurer debout.
Recognize the Honourable the Premier. Please be seated.
Mr. Speaker, I beg leave to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Perpetuate a Certain Ancient Right.
It's been moved by the Honourable the Premier that a bill entitled An Act to Perpetuate a Certain Ancient Right. All those in favour of the motion, please say yea. Yea. All those opposed, please say nay. In my opinion, the yeas have it. I declare the motion carried.
An act to perpetuate a certain ancient right.
Members, in order to avoid any confusion or mistakes, I have procured a copy of Her Honour's speech, and I am offered to read it back to you so that we no mistake.
Dispense.
It is the wish of the House. I now recognize the Minister responsible for the Regional Development Corporation.
Mr. Speaker, I move the following resolution seconded by the member for Southwest Miramichi Bay du Vin, that the speech of Her Honour the Lieutenant Governor be forthwith taken into consideration.
It is a move by the Honourable Minister of Regional Development Corporation, seconded by the member for Southwest Miramichi Bay du Vin, that the speech of Her Honour the Lieutenant Governor be forthwith taken into consideration. Minister responsible for all those in favour of the motion, please say yea. Yea. All those opposed, please say nay. In my opinion, the yeas have it. I declare the motion carried. Recognize the Minister of Regional Development Corporation.
Mr. Speaker, I move the following resolution seconded by the member for Southwest Miramichi Bay du Vin, that the following address be presented to Her Honour the Lieutenant Governor to offer the humble thanks of this House to Her Honour for the gracious speech which she has been pleased to make to the Legislative Assembly, namely, à son honneur, l'honorable Brenda L. Murphy, lieutenant-gouverneur de la province du Nouveau-Brunswick. Il plaise à votre honneur, nous, sujets très dévoués et loyaux de Sa Majesté, membres de l'Assemblée législative de la province du Nouveau-Brunswick, qui tient maintenant séance, priant respectueusement votre honneur d'agréer nos humbles remerciements pour de gracieux discours que vous nous avez faits et nous assurant à votre honneur que toutes les questions dont nous serons saisis durant la session feront l'objet de notre attention et de notre étude les plus diligentes. Mr. Speaker, it is with great pleasure and an honor for me to speak today in the Legislative Assembly, making my maiden speech on my second tour on duty here. The first time I spoke was on the throne speech back in December of 1999. There have been a few changes, but one thing is the same. We are all here to do our best for the people of New Brunswick. Je tiens à féliciter la lieutenant-gouverneur pour son discours du trône. Et je tiens également à remercier le greffier adjoint, le sergent d'armes, les pages et le personnel de l'Assemblée législative pour leur travail acharné. Je tiens également à remercier très sincèrement les gens de la circonscription de baie de Miramichi-Négoac de m'avoir accordé leur confiance. Je ne me suis jamais senti aussi honoré de ma vie. Je suis touché et je promets de faire tout ce qui est en mon pouvoir pour m'assurer d'avoir mérité leur vote. Je veux également remercier mon épouse, Léola, mes 3 filles, Sylvette, Manon et Annick, ainsi que mes 6 petits-enfants pour leur soutien au fil des années. Today, I am also very fortunate to have here with me at the Legislative Assembly the Mayor of Négoac, His Worship Georges Savoie, and Lois Tozer and Jesse McKenna. Lois and Jesse are incredible volunteers that continue to help the people in our riding of Miramichi-Bay-Négoac. Also want to recognize M.R. Savoie of Quat, New Brunswick, being here today. Thanks again for being here. I wouldn't be here today as a member of the Legislative without Tom Jennings and his team. With them, our goals were achieved in winning the by-election. I would also like to congratulate and thank the Premier for his vision. Under his leadership, I am absolutely convinced that we will achieve great social and economical successes in our province. This government has already shown that it is different. It did not wait until 4 years in its mandate to take action. We all recall the first great challenge of getting people out of the cold in the winter of 2018-2019. The challenge was met. This is a government of action, and it has been one since the beginning. Our throne speech outlined more actions ahead on the great challenges in delivering dependable public health care, delivering services faster to New Brunswickers by letting professionals work at a broader scope. In one example, simplifying application form is another one. We know the challenges education is facing. We also know the goal of delivering a world-class education in a place where teachers can teach and students can learn with minimal disruption, and where streaming is eliminated, and parents are clear on programs that exist. Mr. Speaker, Miramichi-Bay-Négoac is part of the city of Miramichi and includes Négoac and the new entity of Alnwick and Miramichi River Valley. Je suis enthousiasmé par les perspectives à venir alors que la réforme de la gouvernance locale continue de progresser. Notre circonscription compte également des membres des 3 Premières Nations de Esconobedich, Metapenagia et Natoaganek. Comme la circonscription que je représente fait également partie de la ville de Miramichi, c'est un grand plaisir de travailler avec mes collègues de Miramichi et de Miramichi-Sud-Ouest-Baie-du-Vent, ainsi qu'avec les maires et les dirigeants des Premières Nations. C'est un bon exemple de la nécessité qu'on a de travailler ensemble, parce que, voyez-vous, une partie de ma circonscription est dans la péninsule acadienne et l'autre est dans la région de Miramichi. Seulement comment des personnes de culture et d'origines différentes peuvent travailler pour le bien de tout le Nouveau-Brunswick. Et c'est ce qui fait de notre province un exemple pour le reste du Canada. C'est ça être un Néo-Brunswickois. J'ai vécu dans ma circonscription toute ma vie et je suis fier de mon héritage. Je comprends que j'ai un rôle à jouer en tant qu'exemple d'un Acadien francophone travaillant pour les gens de ma circonscription au sein d'un gouvernement pendant que nous progressons vers l'avenir. Nous devons faire progresser la réconciliation et continuer d'être une province meilleure et plus inclusive. Je me réjouis du défi et de l'occasion, et c'est grâce au meilleur exemple que je vois tout le monde dans ma circonscription que je sais que nous réussirons. Le 15 août de cette année, j'ai eu le plaisir d'accueillir notre premier ministre à Négoac, alors que nous participions aux festivités de la Fête nationale des Acadiens. L'événement est organisé par la Société culturelle Négoac et la municipalité de Négoac. L'événement comprenait la levée du drapeau au phare de Parc de l'Île aux Foins, puis un concert en plein air et un goûter de poutine râpée à Fair Isle. I also know the concern our communities have with addiction, drug and drug dealers, and the crime that comes along. We dedicated in our throne speech to support law enforcement as they apply pressure to drug dealers. We must do our best to put an end to the human destruction that is happening. We have so much wonderful potential as people and province. Miramichi Bay Négoac depend for the most part on its natural resources, particularly on fishery and on forestry. There are also peatmoss and mining, which employ a number of people. In recent years, however, Miramichi Bay has also been successful in the development of agriculture and aquaculture. Notre discours du trône met en évidence notre vision de dynamiser le secteur privé et d'ouvrir de nouveaux marchés pour nos secteurs mondiaux des produits de la mer et de l'agriculture, tout en faisant du Nouveau-Brunswick un chef de file de la production agricole et agroalimentaire durable. Le tourisme est un autre secteur avec de bonnes opportunités de développement. J'aimerais aussi vous emmener faire un tour. Je vous inviterai, si jamais vous êtes dans ma circonscription, à visiter l'île aux Foins et Highland. Si vous avez faim, nous proposons d'excellents restaurants pour vous servir de délicieux repas. Beaucoup d'entre eux sont liés à nos différentes cultures. Pour les gens qui aiment le sport de golf, pourquoi pas visiter le club de golf régional de Tabs-and-Tac, situé le long de la majestueuse rivière Tabs-and-Tac. Ce parcours mettra le golfeur au défi d'une manière qu'ils n'oublieront pas. Pour un autre voyage de pêche, je vous invite à vous arrêter à la belle rivière Bartibog. N'oublions pas la ferme McDonald pour une visite pratique de notre passé. Pendant que vous y êtes, pourquoi pas ne pas faire une belle navigation sur la magnifique rivière Miramichi jusqu'à Stony Corner. Yes, there are opportunities to develop the various sectors of the economy in the Miramichi Bay riding. Whether it is forestry, fishing, agriculture, peatmoss, tourism, or new technologies, our main asset is skilled human resources in all our communities, from Sunny Corner by Miramichi to Tabs-and-Tac. Mr. Speaker, I am proud to support the throne speech that is dedicated to the environment and to our land, and proper land planning, to climate change, and to impact it has. The goal is to have all communities with plans to prepare for the impact of climate change by 2030. Je suis très heureux d'appuyer le discours du trône qui proposera des modifications législatives visant à réduire davantage l'impôt sur le revenu des particuliers et l'impôt foncier. Monsieur le Président, nous avons un avenir brillant et plein de défis. Et ce sera un honneur de travailler pour les habitants de la baie de Miramichi-Néguac, alors que nous progressons vers cet avenir. Mon engagement envers les gens de ma circonscription ne changera pas. Comme je l'ai souvent dit durant la campagne électorale, je serai visible et accessible, je vais écouter et je vais travailler pour vous servir. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Recognize the member for Miramichi, for Southwest Miramichi, Bay de Vin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have been a member of the House for only 112 days. It is a privilege to stand here today and second the motion by my friend, the member for Miramichi Bay, Néguac, Région Savoie. As this is my first speech in the House, it is an honour to be able to speak briefly about my constituency, Southwest Miramichi Bay de Vin. Mr. Speaker, I would like to begin with a very personal note and a simple thank you to my family. My wife, Kathy, who is here today, and my children, Mikey and Dylan, for their support in my political career to date. I am proud of the great province of New Brunswick and all it has to offer. While I am not bilingual, I fully support bilingualism, and I view the diversity of the two linguistic communities as a unique strength of our province. And Mr. Speaker, I understand the need for meaningful reconciliation with our First Nations people. People across New Brunswick know and understand that our country, respected around the world as a leader in human rights, has failed to live up to the standards with respect to how our First Nations people have been treated. I have the highest faith in our Minister of Aboriginal Affairs, Arlene Dunn, and achieve that for us. I have witnessed firsthand her courage when the cameras are gone. She stands on principle, and she stands up for the people when they need it. Having been in New Brunswick my entire life, having started my own business here, I have had the opportunity to see and visit many communities, villages, and towns across our province. While I have seen and understood the beauty of our entire province, there is no place like home, Mr. Speaker. My constituency of Southwest Miramichi Bay de Vin begins where the headwaters of the Miramichi form in central New Brunswick. From there, those waters flow through the communities which have existed along our rivers for generations: McGivney, Taxis River, Parker's Ridge, Astle Settlement. The river makes its first bold appearance in Boys Town, through Porter's Cove and Dopetown. The geographical centre of our province and the home of the world-famous Woodsman Museum and Atlantic Salmon Museum. Keeping on through Blissfield, into Blackville, Renews, Howards, the Rapids, Corryville and Pineville. Pineville being the location of the Red Bridge Road, where I have already had some success in advocating for my constituents here in the capital. My work there is not yet finished. I look forward to working with my friend, Minister Jeff Carr, to finish this work. On through Millerton, Derby, McKinleyville, Chelmsford, Barnaby River, and Napan. Like the river, my constituency continues through Northumberland County toward the bay. Circle around the city of Miramichi, taking in St. Margaret's, Black River, and Bay de Vin. Ending where the river meets the bay in Hardwick, Bay St. Anne, and Escuminac. A quick look at the map tells you that my riding is the Miramichi River and its bay. I am proud to represent this riding and the people and communities in it, Mr. Speaker. My promise to them is to work hard and always put their interests first, to remain true to my own convictions. I would like to again thank my constituents for placing their trust in me for this. Politics has never been a passion or calling for me, but it was always a topic of discussion in my family. The Conservative Party has always been an extension of the family business and the Dawson family. Let's take a trip down memory lane. My cousin, Paul Dawson, represented the former town of Newcastle in this House and served in the cabinet for Richard Hatfield. He was widely respected for his hard work and ability to get things done. Throughout the 90s, my uncle Andy Dawson kept our constituency association alive in Southwest Miramichi, serving as our president, and he is also the candidate for the party in the 1995 general election. He joins us here today in the gallery, and I'm pleased to welcome him. His son, Andrew Dawson, also with us in the gallery today, worked in the Premier's office of Bernard Lord as an executive assistant for former Minister Margaret Ann Blaney. Like his father, he has also been there for our party, particularly when we were in opposition and needed him. Andrew reminded me of our late grandfather, who used to say politics was simple, a chance to wear a great suit and hang around lower class of people, Mr. Speaker. Having been here only 4 months now, I think I know exactly what he meant. And having figured it out, I think, who he meant. But for my own part, I will work hard, and I promise to be honest, fair in my dealings with every person, whether it be from my own party or another, whether they are a constituent, a government employee, an interested party, and I hope that I can prove that saying wrong. Ultimately, I decided to become a part of this team because of our Premier's well-deserved reputation as a responsible manager of public money impressed me. And after meeting him, I quickly decided that he was a good man and that New Brunswick were all well served by his stable leadership. While he is not perfect, no one is, Mr. Speaker, and at the end of the day, I felt Blaine Higgs was involved in politics for all the right reasons. As I knocked on doors in Southwest Miramichi Bay d'Avin in the recent by-election, I found my constituents shared my positive assessment about the Premier. This speech from the throne only reinforces my belief in this government. We understand that the private sector economy is where taxes come from. As I recently reminded the City of Miramichi in relation to their now $58 million multiplex project, we cannot swim or skate our way to an economic prosperity with government money. We will energize our economy and invest in helping businesses embrace new technology, open new markets for export, and reduce regulatory burdens on companies. We will introduce legislation to reduce personal income taxes and property taxes. We believe in vibrant, sustainable communities. We understand that housing is a major concern for many New Brunswickers and are committed to investing over $100 million in public housing over the next few years. We are working with our First Nations to address housing concerns in their communities as well. We are investing in measures to reduce crime in our communities, and in particular, are targeting drug dealers and drug-driven crime to better protect all New Brunswickers and keep our communities safe. We have announced that the minimum wage will now be tied to CPI, so the politics is removed from future increases to this protection for the lowest paid workers in our communities. We are committed to making health care dependable again for New Brunswickers by eliminating the backlog for Medicare coverage and increasing access to mental health and addiction services, among other many things. This government understands, in addition to a strong economy, we need to protect our environment. We are investing nearly $50 million in the next year in 83 different projects which address climate concerns. We are committed to doubling the amount of conserved and protected areas in our province with 4.6% to 10%. And we are creating a new fund for private woodlot owners to support them and improve management, silviculture, and protection for forests for a long term. Mr. Speaker, this government understands that much needed economic development must be balanced with adequate protections for our environment, and I believe we strike that balance. This government understands that we must govern smarter and more efficiently, that we must achieve savings wherever possible, that our private sector, businesses and individuals can thrive without the burden of ever-increasing taxes. Our return to balanced budgets under the Premier's watchful eye, and the fact that for several years now we have generated a surplus to service our debt, is a proof to New Brunswickers that our government can keep our fiscal house in order and not burden future generations with debt that cannot be repaid. Mr. Speaker, Miramichiers are proud and hard-working New Brunswickers who are firm in their convictions. We speak our mind, and we expect our politicians to do the same on our behalf. I am pleased to inform my constituents that I have been doing that just here in Fredericton since I became a member of this House, and that the Premier has heard their concerns. Because of all of this, Mr. Speaker, it is my sincere pleasure to lend my voice to that of my colleague from Miramichi Bay, Niguac, to second the speech from this throne. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved by the member for Miramichi Bay, Niguac, seconded by the member for Southwest Miramichi Bay Devin, that the following address be presented to Her Honour, the Lieutenant Governor, to offer the humble thanks of this House to Her Honour for the gracious speech which she has been pleased to make to the Legislative Assembly. Namely, to Her Honour, the Honourable Brenda Murphy, Lieutenant Governor of the Province of New Brunswick. May it please Your Honour, we, His Majesty's most dutiful and loyal subjects of the Legislative Assembly of the Province of New Brunswick, now in session, beg leave to extend our humble thanks to Your Honour for the gracious speech which Your Honour has addressed to us, and we assure Your Honour that all matters which may be submitted to us during the session will receive our most careful attention and consideration. Is it the pleasure of the House to adopt the motion? Recognize the opposition. Leader of the official opposition.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je propose l'ajournement du débat sur le discours du trône. I move that we adjourn the debate on the throne speech. Thank you.
It is moved by the Leader of the official opposition that we now adjourn the debate. All those in favour, please say yea. All those opposed, please say nay. In my opinion, the yeas have it. I declare the motion carried. Recognize the Honourable the Premier.
Monsieur le Président, je propose que la Chambre s'adjourne maintenant.
It has been moved by the Honourable the Premier that the House be now adjourned. All those in favour of the motion, please say yea.
Yea.
All those opposed, please say nay. In my opinion, the yeas have it. I declare the House to now be adjourned.
Back